Hey everyone, this is Prince Watercress, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play. This time around, it is King's Quest V, ported to the Nintendo Entertainment System. Oh yeah, Sierra's fabled King's Quest series. It was available on the IBM compatibles, aka MS-DOS, and it was ported to a lot of the micros as well. I know Atari ST got at least the first 4 games, and I know Amiga got a good amount of them. But this one and the first game were the only ones to be ported to 8-bit systems, and well, the console versions didn't really do so well. For the purposes of this Let's Play, when the game asks if we have previously played King's Quest V, we will select No. This will allow us to get the story straightened out. Don't really need to play the first 4 games to figure out what's going on. Not really required. It is recommended though, in case you want to really get in the swing of things and also see all the events that happened before this game occurred, but you don't necessarily have to. And as soon as we start the game, we see this dark hooded figure zap this castle with lightning, and then all of a sudden the sky flashes, and then the castle disappears. And so does this hooded figure. Enter our hero, King Graham. Taking a walk in the forest around the castle, finds a nice flower, sniffs it, decides to take it home, only to find out that home no longer exists, as his castle has now suddenly disappeared, and he has no idea why. All of a sudden, this owl-like figure shows up and tells us that they know what happened. Not only did this owl person see what happened to the castle, he also saw who did it. He saw everything. And Graham wants to know exactly what happened. It turns out that the evil, powerful wizard Mordak just so happened to cast a spell on the castle and just make it disappear. So we know that Mordak is responsible for all this, even though we have no idea who this guy is. We know that Mordak caused a dark cloud to descend from the sky, cover up the castle, and then rise and take the castle with it. King Graham has no idea why this wizard Mordak would want his castle, or his family, who just so happened to be conveniently inside the castle at the time of the castle's disappearance. All our new owl friend knows is that Mordak took our castle and our family. Our owl friend happens to be employed by a wizard, who thankfully happens to be a good wizard and not a bad one. The wizard's name is Crispinifer. Crispin for short. This wizard may be able to help us, but the problem is, Crispin isn't really getting any younger, and he tends to forget things from time to time. King Graham is reluctant to take part in this plan at first, but our owl friend says that Crispin is a very qualified wizard, one of the best, but he seems to be getting on in age and tends to be forgetful at times. And of course, we're definitely going to have to meet Crispin if we have any chance of getting him to help us. The owl pulls out something after he says that while we don't stand a chance against Mordak, Crispin should still be able to help. And that's when he pulls the thing out, this powder that he's sprinkling on us. It's some old leftover fairy dust that should be able to help us fly along with the owl to Serenia, where Crispin lives. we can't just walk there because it's too far. Hopefully the fairy dust is still good. And thankfully, it still is. We take off for Serenia, leaving behind the kingdom of Daventry. We fly over some forest and a couple of mountains here and there. Also, this music reminds me of the Superman theme. Anyway, we finally made it to Serenia. I'm assuming this must be Crispin's house. Our owl friend does a good job at landing, but as for King Graham, not so much. Thankfully, he managed to survive landing in the water there. We learn the owl's name is Cedric as Crispin makes his appearance. Crispin then notices us, and he asks the two of us to come inside for a cup of tea. Time for us to explain what's going on and see if Crispin can be of any help against the evil wizard Mordak. The Society of Wizards has always taken a dim view of Mordak and his abuse of his power. Mordak has been placed on suspension a few times, but it never seems to do any good though. Well, of course not. Mordak is an evil wizard. Graham wants to know if Crispin knows what Mordak would have against him and why Mordak would take his castle or his family. Unfortunately, Crispin doesn't know the answer to that. And Crispin has never understood why Mordak does the thing that he does. Cedric the Owl tells Crispin, "That's why I brought him here. He needs your help. Is it possible for you to help him?" Crispin decides to do whatever it is that he can do. See whatever it is that he can do. Even he knows he's not at his best. Of course, he says he's a little rusty, and when Cedric kinda calls him out on the, I guess you could say, understatement, Crispin admonishes him. And Crispin decides to try to help, but he doesn't know what could be of use to you. Nevertheless, he tries anyway. He looks in an old treasure chest of his. No, that won't do. That's all used up. Aha! It might work. He closes the trunk, and he gives us something. He asks us to ingest this item. When Graham asks what it is, Crispin says that it's an old piece of magical whitesnake he had left over from last year. By ingesting this, we will be able to communicate with the natural and animal world, and that it could be quite helpful. Hey, you never know. He also gives you an old wand. He doesn't even know if it works anymore, and most of his power may be gone. He says that wands are like pets. They've got to get to know you before they'll work for you. Just treat it with care and respect it, and hopefully it will do something. There is not much else that Crispin can do, and he tells you to get going, and tells Cedric to accompany you on the journey. Cedric is reluctant, but the reason he asks Cedric to bear the burden It's because he has an emergency to attend to in a neighboring land. And he won't be able to help us from here. He'll try to keep an eye out for us, but Cedric and I are going to have to take care of this ourselves. Crispin then wishes King Graham luck. Graham thanks Crispin for all that he's done, and then we head off. Cedric recommends visiting the town first. We're definitely going to do that, because that's where we're going to find our first items. And of course, Graham tells Cedric, "Don't call me your majesty, just call me Graham." Anyway, he does, and he also mentions the town again. Cedric says the town is over a little hill to the south. We're going to keep going south. There is a poisonous snake to the east. Watch out, Graham! A poisonous snake! I can't do it very well, and thankfully this version does not have Cedric's voice acting. Voice acting in the PC version was not very good. It was basically people from the Sierra offices supplying the voices. King's Quest VI would have a lot much better results in the voice acting department. But anyway, we go into the buildings and we'll be able to enter the town. By pressing the B button, we should be able to talk to the man behind the wagon. You'll go from sight to talking to touching or taking with the B button, and then you'll automatically leave the menu at the top. Speak to the man behind the wagon, and he'll tell you that this old wagon is giving him some trouble. Graham asks if he can help him in any way, but he says he can handle it. Graham wishes him luck, and he says, "Thanks, with this wagon, I'm going to need it." We might as well go ahead and go to the stores here. There are 3 stores that we can go to. The cobbler, the tailor, and the toy maker. But if you use the hand on the barrel, we can just reach in there and grab this fish. By moving into the door, we will be able to talk to the cobblers here. Moving around is not that hard. All you have to do is just move around by holding directions on the control pad. And if you're not controlling a cursor, you will always be controlling King Graham. As for commands, just select one in the menu, whether with B or select. If you select sight, speaking, or touching, you'll then cause a mouse cursor to pop up. And then you can press A on whatever it is you want to interact with, and the game will do whatever it can. Sometimes you'll be able to interact with stuff, sometimes you can't. Anyway, these cobblers are not doing very well in the shoe cobbling department. There's nothing you can do for them right now. When you leave any of the stores, after you talk to that man behind the wagon, you'll see this shiny thing near the barrel. Select the hand with the B button, and then select the command with the A button when the cursor is around the hand, and then you press A when you move the mouse cursor over to the shiny thing. You'll pick up a silver coin. The middle door takes us to the tailor. Press B until you get the cursor on the hand. Then press A, and then move the mouse cursor over to this blue cloak. You'll find out that this cloak is very, very good, and that we can definitely make use of it. And he asks you to let him know if you want to buy it. We won't be able to do anything right now. Now it's time to go through the third door. Don't pay any attention to the woman there. She doesn't really do anything extremely important. Anyway, we are now in the toy maker store. If you wait around for a little bit, His granddaughter, who just so happens to be sitting on the floor playing with a doll, asks if she can keep the doll. Turns out the toy is for sale for other children, and that she's got plenty of dolls. She can still play with her, she just has to be careful. Remember that for later. Also, I kind of leave this room prematurely, and then I decide, you know what, I think it's better if we went back, because you can actually have a rather interesting conversation with the toy maker. So here I am making my way back into the toy maker's store. Press B until we make our way to the lips, and then press A on the toy maker when we have the cursor on them. We find out that the toy maker really loves his job. And some of these toys he's made, some he's bought, some he's traded for. Actually, the ones that were made by his son. And then says if he can help us, let him know. He won't be able to help us right now, and we've done all we can in the town for now. By going one screen west from the town, we get to go to the bakery. I keep thinking you have to use the hand on the door to open it, but no, you just have to walk into it, and Graham will automatically open the door. This is the only area of the bakery you can go to. The cat blocks your way, and it's not particularly friendly. Thankfully, the cat can't kill you, and you can't really interact much with it. Anyway, you can talk to the pieman if you want. You'll learn that these pies are custard pies, and that they look awfully good. Turns out they're from a recipe handed down from his mother and from her mother before. Basically just a bunch of flavor text, but still interesting flavor text nonetheless. Turns out you can actually buy the pie. Just press select. The cursor will usually be on the inventory, which is a little bag icon. Press A on the bag icon, then move your cursor to the coin. It is a common silver coin. Then move the cursor onto the pieman, and you will give the coin to the pieman in exchange for a custard pie. I should note that you should not eat the custard pie. Otherwise, you will make the game unwinnable. Plenty of ways to make this game unwinnable if you're not careful. So don't eat the pie. Anyway, we're done here. We might as well go ahead and leave. Go one screen to the west. There's an inn. We're not going in there right now. And if you do, you will die. One screen further to the west will lead us to this bear that is messing with this colony of bees. Go to your inventory with select, press A on the bag, select the fish with the control pad, press A when the cursor is on the fish, and then move the mouse cursor onto the bear and press A. You will toss the bear. Graham can't do that. He's not really that strong of a hero. You'll toss the fish and get the bear's attention. The bear will leave the bees alone and take the fish and run off with it. You'll then be thanked by Queen Beatrice. She offers us a luscious honeycomb from our hive in exchange for saving her and her colony from the bear, and promises that the bees won't harm us if we go for the honeycomb. Let's select the hand with the B button, then put the cursor on the little hole in the tree there and press A. We'll get the honeycomb. Let's do the same with this stick right here too. We're going to need that for later, and by later we mean right now. From here, let's go north. There's this dog bothering these ants on an anthill. If we approach the dog will growl at us and we'll be forced to step back. Press select. Keep pressing B for whatever reason. Go to the inventory and select the stick. with the control pad and the A button. From there, put the cursor on the dog and press A, and you'll throw the stick and get the dog away from the anthill. You'll meet King Antony the Great, who happens to be the king of all these ants in this anthill. King Antony introduces himself. King Graham of Daventry introduces himself and mentions that we're seeking a way to cross the Great Mountains to the ocean on the other side. We're going to have to do that if we want to confront Mordak. King Antony says that this is a very perilous undertaking and that in case we're not going to reconsider, he promises to help us out in exchange for rescuing our home from that dog that we just managed to get rid of. King Graham appreciates the kind offer and takes it, and looks forward to meeting King Antony again. And we're definitely going to be meeting King Antony very soon. Here's what we do. We go south from here, and then we go back to the inn. Now we need to press B until we highlight the hand, and then press A on the haystack here. If we didn't save King Antony before, it wouldn't have been of much help. We couldn't have been able to do anything. But now that we have rescued King Antony, the King Antony and the ants will look through the haystack to see if they can find anything. King Antony and his men find a golden needle and presents this to us. We're definitely going to be able to use this somehow. King Graham thanks King Antony, and King Antony and his colony head off. So now we have a golden needle, and here's what you do with the golden needle. We're going to head back into town because there is a use for the golden needle and we can use it right away. Thanks to finding everything through trial and error and also watching a let's play of this game so long ago. Anyway, we're heading back to the tailor. Press select, go to the inventory, go to the golden needle, press A, and then press A once you get the cursor on the tailor. Turns out the tailor was looking for the golden needle all this time. And when you tell him where you found it, he tells you that the innkeeper is a jerk. That's why I said don't go to the inn, because he will kill you. Graham asks if he can exchange the golden needle for the cloak that we just tried on minutes ago. And the tailor agrees. The tailor accepts the offer. So now we have a cloak. The cloak will definitely come in useful a little later on. And of course that guy who says, I don't like this at all, is just some customer. You can just press A to bypass his dialogue. And with that, that's all we can do in Serenia. And that's pretty much all that we can do. From this point forward, we're going to be going to the desert. Before I do that, and cut this video off, if you press select and go to the M and press A, you can get a password. And you can also save your game. You have 2 save files to choose from. Just put the cursor on the one you want and press A. And there you can name your file if you so choose. The game does not have battery backup. The saves only disappear when you turn the game off or power off, I think, or reset, I think. Thankfully, there was always the password system, which is the more permanent way of saving your progress in this game. Anyway, I'm going to put in the name Watercress for my save file, then select save, and then that will be that. Join me next time where I go through the desert to take care of some more business, because there are some items there that we're going to need. Until then, this is Prince Watercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!